Hi, everyone, and welcome to Events Made Sane's live broadcast for this week. This week, we're going to talk about how and why you should run your nonprofit like a business. There's three main reasons that I really want you guys to hone in on for running your nonprofit like a business. The first one is that the people you serve deserve for you to do this. You want to serve them as best as possible. So running your nonprofit like a business allows you to actually serve them better as long as you remember your core reasons for starting everything. The second reason is that if you run your nonprofit like a business, it can take a little bit of the emotional baggage and weight that you can feel off of you. Especially if you are the founder and the creator of this nonprofit and you're the one doing all of the work to start with. And you have your board, you have your volunteers, but if you're the main person, thinking of it more as a business really does help remove yourself just a little bit emotionally and help you make better decisions for the nonprofit. And the third reason is because your nonprofit is a business. It's there to serve people. And that's what businesses do. They serve others. So again, those are the three main reasons why you need to run your nonprofit like a business. Now, how do you do this? It's not easy going from a service mind necessarily to a business mind. But at the same time, they are very similar. So the first big tip that I want to set for you guys, especially if you are the person that's really the forefront, that's running it, that's in charge of your nonprofit, is to set office hours. What time of the day are you going to be working on these? How long are you going to be working on? Is it 4 hours a day because you have, another job that you're putting together as well? Is it more than that? When is it in the afternoons when your constituents need to be served the most? Or is it in the mornings? Or is it in the evenings? Figure out what is the best time for you to have quote unquote office hours. Now you also need to have admin time. This is different from your office hours. These are the times where you're working out your plans, you're working at your budgeting, you're working on your fundraising. All of the plans that you're putting together are admin time. The second tip that I have for you guys is to set up processes and procedures, just like a business would. Think about how you can have this nonprofit run without you as well. And the sooner you set up the processes and procedures, when you grow and you bring new people on, you can then give people these processes and procedures, and they know right then and there how you guys do things and how you want them done. So some processes and procedures to think about are how you get elections done. Do you elect board members, or are they appointed by certain people? How does that get done? How long are the officers there for? Is it for a year term? Are there term limits? Who can sign checks? It's a big one. What limits do people have on checks? You don't necessarily want people to be able to write checks for the entire amount that you have in your account. If it's over a certain amount, does it require 3 signatures? If it's under a certain amount, can it just have the one signature of the treasurer or whoever is the normal check signer? Also think about hiring practices. Who are you going to bring on? How are you going to bring on it? Think about how you want your nonprofit to grow. The third tip I have is, if at all possible, host meetings outside of someone's home. Find a library, find a multi-purpose room, find a quiet restaurant, a quiet coffee shop, but hosting meetings outside of someone's house really does allow for an even playing field for somebody. And it allows people to leave if necessary, if something comes up. But if you're hosting events at your house, specifically meetings at your house, and something comes up, you feel bad about kicking people out or leaving, asking people to leave. So hosting it at a neutral location really is a great idea. A lot of colleges will allow room rentals for free or for a super small fee. So you can use their empty rooms. Think about elementary schools. Again, the elementary school multi-purpose rooms normally allow you to come in and talk as well. Again, it's a different dynamic meeting in a neutral location than at someone's house. No one feels like they're hosting, and no one feels like they're insulting the host if they're talking about or if they're knocking down one of their ideas. The fourth tip is you should set up a website. Most people are getting their information from the internet now. So you need a good website. You don't need a great website, but you need a website that's easy to navigate and that tells people what you do. I would also add on there, you want a website where people can donate to you. You want to be able to accept donations at any point in time. Again, that's all you accept payments at any point in time as a business. You want to accept those donations. So a good website can have, an about me, how people can get your services, and how people can donate to you. That's all you really need. That's 3 pages. That's all you need. You can expand it as you go forward, add an events page, add a past events page, people you've served, people you've helped, case studies, success stories, all of that can be added on as you go through, but you definitely want to have those 3 main pages. I would also suggest you guys have a social media account or multiple accounts. Figure out where your target market is and go to where they are on social media. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and TikTok are the big ones right now. Pinterest can be another one, but that's a little harder for nonprofits unless you are serving those who are on Pinterest all the time. But think about that. And then also think about, again, that nonprofits have the 2 different audiences like we've talked about in a past live. You've got the people that are donating to you and then the people that you're serving. So think about those as you're doing your social media and your website. The next tip, and this is an interesting one, is to think about succession planning. You want your nonprofit organization to thrive beyond you. That's the ultimate goal, right? To have an endowment where this nonprofit can thrive beyond what you're doing personally and affect more people. So think about that succession planning. Are you putting a portion of every fundraiser into an account that is run by a trusted financial advisor that's picked by the board, and they are helping that money grow? Are you starting an endowment fund? Are you reaching out for grants? And then when you want to step back, how is that going to happen? Who's going to move forward? Who's going to step into your place? Or again, if it's an election set where you elect a whole another board group well, that's great. But again, what does that succession planning look like? How do you bring in new members? There's a lot of wonderful organizations that have unfortunately died out because they weren't cultivating the younger generations and bringing them up through the ranks in the organization. And then the organization is left, one, going to the same volunteers over and over, who then get burnt out, and 2, are left without any great new fun ideas that new blood can bring in. And so succession planning is really something that your organization should be thinking about. How are you going to get the new people involved in your nonprofit? How are you going to bring people along? Or how are you going to pass the reins off to somebody else? How is that new CEO chosen? How is that new chairman of the board chosen as you transition out and hand the reins to somebody else? Again, this is all about thinking like a business. There's a ton of amazing business books out there. I'm sure you guys have read quite a few of them, but your nonprofit is a business. Oh, you also need to have a good tax person. Make sure that your nonprofit is doing what it can to file taxes properly if it needs to. Again, please go talk to a tax professional. They're going to be the ones that are able to help you the most. but they can also help you figure out, how you can get that endowment going, what you need to do. The three main people that a business always seems to need is a good tax person, a good bank, and a good lawyer. So you don't necessarily have to have them on retainer because that can be very expensive, but you need someone to go to and need someone to maybe help you write up your nonprofit, your contracts, how things are going to happen. You want a good bank. You want a bank that's going to support you. And that is crucial. So you might want to look to start with for a local community bank, because a lot of the times they are more prone to helping support the smaller nonprofits because they get more out of it that way. But really think about who you want to bank with. And nonprofits can get loans. There's ways for you to do that. So you want whatever bank that you're choosing to be able to lend it to you so you can grow and do more things. Say, you've gone from your house and you want to now go buy a building to be able to help people. Well, grants and endowments are great, but sometimes that doesn't cover everything. So you then need to go and make sure that you can get lending. So talk with your banker. How can you do that? How can you show that your nonprofit is viable to get these loans? It really does make a difference as you're growing. And again, a good tax person, a tax professional, that really is crucial, especially for a nonprofit, because it helps you guys just stay on the right side of the IRS or whatever your tax system is. So again, the 3 reasons you should run your nonprofit like a business is because your constituents deserve it. The more streamlined you can get your nonprofit, in theory and in practice, the more money you're going to be able to fundraise and the more people you're going to be able to help. The second reason is for you to be able to take a step back and for it to grow beyond you. And the third reason is because it is a business. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to DM me. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have around nonprofits and nonprofit fundraising. Thank you and have a lovely day.